want to talk about FOMO boxes and why I really don't like them. And it's not for the reasons that you think. Okay. Because, firstly, for the people that are brand new to this whole thing, what is the FOMO boxes that Games Workshop does? It means, FOMO, fear of missing out. Basically, what Games Workshop will do is they will release a box set and be like, hey, it's only available for a limited time only. And so people want to buy it because, they tend to be pretty good deals. And so people tend to want to buy them because they're like, well, I don't want to miss out. I don't want to miss out on the good deal. It's a good deal. And if other people get the good deal and I don't get the good deal, then I'm going to feel like a chump. And other people are going to talk about how good the deal was. And I'm going to be like, oh, I wish I'd got the deal. Even if you don't need the stuff. This is what Games Workshop is really good at separating us from our money. You got to give them credit where credit's due. They're really good at separating us from our money. And so Games Workshop knows that even if you never had any intention of buying that box, if you hear other people talk about how good a deal that box was and you don't get it, then you're going to feel bad. And you want to be able to be one of the people that can talk about hey, look, I got the FOMO box. Look at me. It was a great deal. And even if that thing ends up sitting in your pile of shame for months, you still feel like you got the good deal, and you didn't miss out. So that's the concept of the FOMO boxes. A good example of this is the ones they've put out recently with there's the Space Marine one where you get the dread. Is it 2 dreadnoughts or something mental? It's pretty good actually. It's 2 dreadnoughts, a Ballistus and a Redemptor. And then you get some Hellblasters and some Sternguard veterans and a whole bunch of characters, and you get the first female Space Marine. Oh god, okay, we'll brush past that. But the point is, it's quite a good deal, double dreadnought plus loads of characters plus actually some pretty usable infantry as well. The Iron Halo Strike Force is actually pretty legit. And so people are like, well, I don't want to miss out on that, so I'm going to get it. Now the thing is that the traditional complaint around these FOMO boxes, the traditional complaint is that predatory business practices. GW creates a false sense of urgency which can then sucker people into buying stuff that they don't really need. And also a big complaint about the FOMO boxes is it encourages scalping behavior, which Games Workshop has done very, very, very little to try and counter. And there's no reason, they've done a bit to look hey, look, we're trying to cut down on scalpers. But the reality is that Games Workshop doesn't give a fuck about scalpers, because if a scalper comes in and buys 100 of these things, as far as Games Workshop's concerned, they've just sold 100 boxes. They don't care. They'll just pass it on to somebody, they'll just pass it on. So that's the sort of traditional, roughly, there's many complaints around FOMO boxes. And if you've got any other complaints, traditional complaints around them, please, put them down in the comment section if you're watching this post live, or put them down in chat if you're watching this right now. But the point is that there's many complaints about FOMO boxes, but those are sort of 2 of the big ones that come to mind. It feels a little scummy, it feels it feels unnecessary in some ways. And it also, it feels it encourages scalping behavior, which is, bad. No, that's not good. However, I have a different reason for why I don't like FOMO boxes. And it's kind of difficult to explain, but so if it takes me a couple of stabs, give me a chance to riff. Chat, can I riff? Can I? But the reason I don't like FOMO boxes is because, especially from a guard perspective, but also for a lot of factions, it really feels like it's unnecessary for them to be FOMO boxes, because they're often really good boxes that would sell like hotcakes, regardless. But also, Games Workshop introduces these FOMO boxes, and if they didn't get rid of them, there'd be this really logical progression of like stepping stones for you and us, the players, for buying stuff. So let me give you and so by taking those stepping stones away, what ends up happening is they actually screw over the hobby journey. Like, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to buy that. They screw over the hobby journey. They actually make it harder for you to sort of get into their game. And also, I think Games Workshop's kind of screwing themselves, because if they kept these bundles around, it would give them a lot more control over what kind of boxes were going to sell. Because if there was this sort of generally laid out progressive path, then it would give Games Workshop would know, okay, well, we know a lot of people are going to be buying. We know that people start with the Combat Patrol, then they go over to like the Iron Halo Strike Force, and then they blah, blah, blah. And so we know that we're going to need to be producing more of these. So it helps them with their production issues, which we know they've had. So let me give you an example of this. Two examples from a guard point of view. And not only do I hate this from a personal point of view, but I hate this from a professional point of view, because my whole thing. Let me get this picture on screen. My whole thing is I like to help people. It's why I set up this channel. It's why I set up this channel over 10 years ago. I saw a lot of guard players struggling with their game, struggling with their army, and getting very disheartened. And I had a modicum of success at tournaments, and so I said, hey, why don't I make a channel and I can share my experience, and hopefully that'll help a few people. I like making content. Don't get me wrong, I really, really enjoy making content, but the underlying motivator for why I make the content that I make is I like making content that I think will be helpful. That's why I like making content. That's why I like making guard tactics videos. It's why I like going to tournaments. I cover all sorts of things. I cover different games. We do a little bit of drama, a little bit of salt. But fundamentally, the core purpose of this channel is and always will be. It's a channel that is there to try and help guard players, because guard is a big legacy faction. So there's a lot of decisions that can be made along the way, and you want to be making the right ones so you're not wasting your hard-earned hobby cash. Or wasting is a bit of a harsh term, but maybe not getting the choices that might be quite as fun or useful as you might want. Lower Decks, you've certainly helped solidify my hatred for the Tau. Let me give you an example of two examples of a series of boxes which came out from Games Workshop. The first one is what I would call the Cadian path, and the second one is the more recent Krieg path. So the Cadian path began with the launch box Cadia Stands. In that box set, you got the Codex, and you also got a platoon of Cadian Guardsmen, so 2 squads of the new plastic Cadians, and a command squad to lead them, and you got a field ordnance battery, and you got a sentinel. This was, and if it still existed today, would remain a really useful box set. Really good. Really, really good. You get your Codex in hand, get the start of your infantry corps, bit of indirect fire with those field ordnance batteries, and you can never go wrong with a cheeky sentinel. You can never go wrong with a cheeky sentinel. They're a great unit. Always useful to have at least one sentinel in the motor pool, right? So this is a great place to start your Cadian hobby and gameplay journey. Now, the box that they came out with after Cadia Stands was the Cadian Combat Patrol. And this was essentially the contents of Cadia Stands, but without all of the accoutrement. No codex or data cards or anything like that. But still, it was a very, very good box set. It was a really, really good place to start. And it was good for veterans, and it was good for beginners alike. Because at the end of the day, it's a platoon of guardsmen and a sentinel and field horse batteries. You know, you could happily buy 2 or 3 of these things and you would just, it was bread and butter. It was bread and butter. You could buy it for days. After 3, you'd probably start, you know, after you bought 3 of them, you may start being like, okay, I don't really need any more of these. But even then, even after that, you could happily buy more. Just, you might end up selling off the field orders batteries or using them to get other options than the bombast cannons. But the point is that, you know, for a lot of guard players in 9th edition, the core of their army was a Cadia Stands box and a couple of Cadian combat patrols. And that was, it was, in many ways, it was like the golden age of like modern guard. You know, you had all of your old options and then you had this great combat patrol. And in some ways, this was superior to the old start collecting. I know we like to put the start collecting up on a pedestal. I know. Because it came with the Leman Russ, and Leman Russes are great. Don't get me wrong. But the old combat patrol, the old start collecting set came with like a commissar, and it came with a heavy weapon team, not squad heavy weapon team. So there was a little bit of, you know, it was a little fucky. It was really the best bits where you got the squad and the Leman Russ for basically the price of, you know, the Leman Russ, right? So it was, but this has its own issues. You know, start collecting was great. I'm not slagging it off in any way, shape, or form. Start collecting was great, but in some ways this was a better foundation because you got a slightly higher concentration of infantry, and you need a good infantry corps in the guard. No matter what Games Workshop tries to do to us, every single time they try and screw over the guard infantry corps, you always need it. There's always a place for a platoon of guardsmen in every guard list. So this was a really good, solid foundation. Now, after the combat patrol came out, we got the Christmas box. So you have to understand, Cadia Stands was a FOMO box. Well, actually, we'll sort of come back to that. So after that, we got this box. Okay? And this box was another platoon of guardsmen and 2 Rogol Dawns. And this thing was like £125. By today's standards, you basically got the entire platoon of infantry free, which is wild. Or you got one of the Rogol Dawns, and the command squad free. However you slice it, it was such a good box. And this thing sold like hotcakes. And I remember doing videos about this and being like, hey, if you are a guard player that's started off with Cadia Stands, then you've got the Cadian Combat Patrol, you need to be buying this box. You need this thing. It's going to give you the heavy armor that you're currently missing. And once you've got those 3 boxes, one Cadia Stands, 1 Combat Patrol, one of this Christmas box set, you are going to be in such a good place as a guard player. And then, so this was a really, really, really good box set. It still is a good box set. It just doesn't exist anymore. And then finally, Games Workshop, the last step in this journey was this thing. Now, on its own, this box set isn't very good. I have maligned it. I have lambasted it. I have shat on it. And at every opportunity that I have, I say to new guard players, they should avoid this thing. It is Games Workshop predatory business practice all over. If this box set existed alongside this one, and this one, and this one, then suddenly it becomes a really good combat patrol. Because if you've bought Cadia Stands and a combat patrol and the Xmas and the Rogol Dawn box, you've already got 3 platoons of infantry at that point. You've already got 2 artillery teams at that two field horse batteries at that point, 2 sentinels, 2 Rogol Dawns. What you probably want at that point is a bit of variety, and what you probably want is some specialists what you probably want is some specialists. And, having a couple of cavalry squads, that's a decent, they're pretty good specialists. And having a squad of Kazakin is a fantastic choice. And then the command squad's like the weak link in this. But hey, the command squad, that's still useful because you could get yourself a command squad, then a single box Cadians, then a Lord Soul. And hey, look, you've got a Supreme Command Blob. Or you get Creed and another box of infantry. And you've got a Supreme Command Blob. Like, that would be amazing. That would be great. But the problem is that this box set doesn't exist alongside the other ones. It doesn't exist alongside them. It exists on its own. And so not only is this box set basically for fucking chumps, but and I don't mean that in a horrible way. It's not your fault if you buy this because a GW rep says it's a good place to start your army. It's not your fucking fault. It's their fault. Okay, chumps is the wrong word, and I apologize and I take it back. But you don't know any better. GW should know better. You don't know any better. But the point is that this box would be great if it existed alongside a series of other guard boxes. And this is what pisses me off, right? This is why I hate FOMO boxes. I want to be able to tell guard players, hey, when you start your hobby, you know what, Games Workshop, if by some miracle the GW spy is watching this, okay, if you're watching this, as crazy as it sounds, I don't want to have to tell people to go and buy third-party miniatures. It makes my life much easier if I can be like, hey, just go and buy the GW bundle. Because then I don't have to deal with the conversations of, oh, but can I use third-party miniatures? Or, there's no muddying of the waters. There's no muddying of the waters. I can just say to a new guard player, okay, so the first box you want to buy is Cadia Stands, because that's going to come with your platoon, but you're also going to get the Codex thrown in there for free, which is great. So you get that, and that starts you, and that gets your infantry corps started off. And then once you've done that, what you probably want to do is, there's two different directions you can go in. Well, there's two more boxes you want to buy, and it's up to you which order you buy them in. Maybe you expand your infantry corps first, or maybe you expand your tank corps first. But either one of these is fine. It depends whichever, if you want to get them both at the same time, that's fine. But start with Cadia Stands, then let's say you get your tank box, then let's say we get you another combat patrol, and then let's round the force out with this box. And you probably want to pick up a Lord Solar. You might want to pick up a Lord Solar, an extra box of infantry as well to get that sort of, or Creed, an extra box of infantry to get that, to really round the force out. But if you buy these 4 boxes, you are going to be absolutely sorted. That's going to be your 2,000 point army, near as damn it fucking nailed. I would say that to people, and every time someone asks me, Mordian, where's the best place to start? I'd say, look, here's the path. Here is the path laid out for you as a new guard player. I want to be able to tell people that. I've said this many times. I don't like being salty. Contrary to what you might think of the recent content I've been putting out, I don't like being salty. I like being hyped. I like being peppy. I like being excited. Why do you think I've got so fucking hard for something like Conflict 47? Because it allows me to just be happy. It doesn't fuck with me. It just allows me to be happy. That's why it's really drawn me in. There's no other shoe that's going to drop. It's just, I get to be like, hey, look, this is the good stuff, and it's not going to get fucked with. It's not FOMO. It's just going to be there. So that's why I hate these FOMO boxes, because they're so unnecessary. Right now, on Games Workshop's website, all 4 of these boxes should exist, including Cadia Stands. It shouldn't necessarily be a box, but it should be like a bundle, and it should be obviously the updated codex, of course. But the point is, like, these 4 bundles should be on Games Workshop's website, and it should be, this one should be called like Cadia Stands. This one should be called Combat Patrol. This one should be called, Armored Platoon, and this one should be called like Specialist Recon Force or something like that. And I should, give them some cool like funky names. And I should be able to be like, okay, you start off with your Cadia Stands, Then you go over to your Acadian Combat Patrol. Then you buy your Acadian Heavy Armor Platoon. Then you buy your Specialist Recon Platoon. You get those things nailed down, and you are sorted. And all Games Workshop would need, and what's kind of crazy, is in terms of like game balance as well. It helps Games Workshop with game balance as well. Think about it. It helps because then they know that the vast majority of their players are going to be going down this pathway. So as long as they can have that build be reasonably competitive, they've sorted out probably the majority, 50, 60, 70, 80% of the Guard players. And the Guard players have got confidence. The Guard players have got confidence in the armies and the models that they're buying. Like, oh, they're a bit expensive, but at least I know they're going to be good because this is the path laid out, and this is what the GWs make. They always make sure that this army at least can go sort of 3-2 at a tournament with a bit of practice. Form 1. They always know that this army is solid, and so it's good for Games Workshop. It's good for the player, and it's good for the content creators, which frankly are a bunch of free advertising from Games Workshop because we get to say this is the path you go down. But I can't do that. And I can't do that. And then you come out, and it's similar with the Krieg stuff, right? Like if we look at the Krieg stuff, you've got the Krieg launch box set, which, you know, on its own isn't a particularly good box, frankly. On its own, the Krieg box set isn't particularly good. But when you start combining it with the other boxes, it starts to get a little bit better. Like on its own, this is just like 10 cavalry. On its own, this is just a random collection of shite. But when stacked up with other boxes, it gets especially with this one, it gets a lot better. If I can tell a Krieg player, hey, you buy the launch box, then you buy one of the combat patrols, then you buy yourself an artillery team, and then all GW needs to do at that point is for the fourth box, all they need is to basically make the equivalent of this one again, but with Krieg units. They're absolutely gravy. They're absolutely flying. But for some reason, Games Workshop's like, no, this box set, which we would obviously sell thousands and thousands and thousands of in perpetuity, because it is possibly the most Krieg box that they put out. Frankly, this should have been the fucking launch box. I'm not even fucking kidding you. Instead, it's no FOMO. No FOMO. It's so annoying. And it's just so frustrating. And what really annoys me about this is... just a quick one. And because I know a lot of you are going to collectively groan, but I'm going to wash Warlord's balls for a moment here. What's so annoying is it's unnecessary, because other companies like Warlord Games, for example, they don't have the same problem. So with like Warlord Games, you've got like the Conflict 47 starter set, and then after that, I've got a very obvious place to go. I get my Conflict Axis starter army, or I get my Conflict United States starter army, and that's it. Or both if I want to have two armies. That's it. That's the hobby path. This plus this, you're sorted. 1250 points, done, in the bank. This plus this, sorted. 1250 points in the bank. If I want anything else after that, if I want to go to 1500 points, I literally can buy one other box and I'm done. And then, you know, you use an example with bolt action, and it's like, bolt action, it's like, okay, I can buy this starter set. Oh, I didn't know they've got it on sale. That's pretty cool. I can buy this starter set, and then I've got, let's say I got the Fallschirmjäger. Where do I expand to? Oh, yeah, the Fallschirmjäger starter army. Look at that. Or you've got something like where are they? Here you go. You've got the Grenadier starter army, right? Okay. Grenadier starter army. Where do I expand after the Grenadier starter army? Oh, yeah, that's right. the fucking support group, which comes with the extra machine gun and medium mortar. So once I expand, which basically is perfect, because then I end up with 2 vehicles, an artillery platoon, 2 light mortars, 2 medium machine guns, and 36 plastic infantry. I'm absolutely sorted. The point is that every single Warlord Games box leads you on a journey. You start with the starter set, then you go to starter army, then you flesh out with a support group. Every single one. Every single one. Isn't that the wrong support group? No, this is the Grenadiers, and then this is the German army. I mean, maybe there's a Grenadier support group, but it's basically exactly the same. I think if we go over to the Germans, you can find they actually do bundles. This is the thing with Warlord. I'm pretty certain they do like they do bundles, where it's like you get the starter army plus you get the expansion box. Oh yeah, so you even get they've even got it covered here with like the expansion box sets and stuff. So it's very easy for me to say to someone, "Hey, start off with this." This is why I think Bolt Action has been, and Warlord Games has been doing so well. Because because for influencers, wanky term, but influencers, content creators, it's very easy for us to say to a hobbyist, hey, start here, then go here, then go here, then you're done. If you want, then you're done. Or and even if and to be fair, with a lot of historicals, maybe a lot of old grognards like to play historicals, although that's not really the case anymore. But even if you're not someone that even if you don't give a fuck about content creators, and that's fair enough. That's fair enough. But even if you're someone who knows nothing about Bolt Action, I can just buy the starter army. It comes with my codex included. And then you're like, oh, where do I go next? Oh, there's this thing called the support group. Oh, I'll get that. Oh, there's this thing that's called the expansion set. Oh, I'll get that. Or maybe you and a mate split Battle of the Balls. You're like, oh, where do I go with my Americans next? Oh, that's right. I buy the American starter army with included rulebook. Oh, where do I go with the Fallschirmjäger afterwards? Oh, I buy the Fallschirmjäger winter starter army with so I'm sort of with the rulebook included. Do you know what I mean? Like it's so easy for the hobbyist, for the player to know where to go step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. And I really don't understand. I really, really don't understand why we can't have that in 40k. I really, really don't understand it. It's if that progression existed, like I'm gonna finish now on this rant. I'm gonna finish now, but I really feel like if these boxes existed full time, they would be consistently some of the best selling things for Games Workshop. I think they would make more money than if they did them FOMO. I truly believe, and I don't even think and I think they would make that money quickly. I don't think it would be over a long period of time or over like 5 years. They make the money. No, I think like instead of having it available for 1 month, I think within 6 months, they would have made more money. Because it would just be like, because Games Workshop's really good at funneling new players in. They're really, really, really good at funneling new players in. So imagine if that funnel wasn't fucking impenetrable. Imagine if it was actually really easy. Games Workshop I think they genuinely make it hard for you to collect their games. They really do. I think they genuinely make it hard. And I also, quick side note though. Quick side note. It is kind of funny how you can see the exact moment that GW decided to just like, let me put this a different way. It's not funny. It's depressing, actually. It's actually annoying, right? Look at the box sets we got in 9th edition. This is so good. This look at this launch box set, and then look at this launch box set. I mean, what the fuck, man? This is just random shite. This is like just all killer, no filler. And then look at like this combat patrol. And then look at this combat patrol. And then look at like this Christmas box set. And then look at this Christmas box set. This combat patrol is okay. It's okay. Even then, it's not great because it's not a full platoon. In fact, yeah, this isn't great either. Which combat patrol is better? This one or this one? This one every day of the week. Every day. I know it's not Krieg themed, but every day. Look at this. This Christmas box set is good. I like it. But if I had to pick between this one and this one, I'd pick this one every time. Every fucking time. Yeah. It's really crazy how 9th edition GW Guard, they literally couldn't put a foot wrong. 10th edition GW Guard, and we're just happy for any fucking crumb that's in the right direction. This at least is a better direction. This is better than this. But this is better than both of them by a long way. Yeah. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. I just think Games Workshop, you need to stop with the fucky boxes. Just make good boxes with good units in them. It's not that hard. It's really, really not that hard. That's my thoughts. But, of course, all of this is just like my opinion, man. Let me know what you guys think. Comment section and in chat. There we go. Would you like to know more? If so, then please consider becoming a channel member or patron. By supporting the channel, not only will you be doing your part, but you'll also be helping me create more content for your viewing pleasure and unlocking a whole host of perks. You get everything from a badge next to your name, custom emojis, but the big one is access to the Mordian Glory Discord server, an online community with almost 2,500 active members. It's always popping off in the MG Discord. We've got channels for army lists, hobbying, tactics, stories, and even a pretty spicy meme section as well. For all you greenhorns that wanted to see the Mordian glory hole, today is your lucky day. And joking aside, I do want to say a massive thank you to all of the current channel members and patrons. You guys are amazing. Truly the lifeblood of the channel. I could not do Mordian Glory full time without the incredible and generous support of my members. So thank you guys so much. And last but certainly not least, I want to say a personal thank you to all of my top tier Patreons. These are the War Masters, the people who have truly gone above and beyond the call of duty. So a heartfelt thank you to Redfield, 32, Jurgens, Miasma, Try Again, Bragg, RJ, Scorpion, Bonbon Vert, Lord Pryor, Nicholas Walsh, John Stubbs, Guardian, Varney, Sword, Fish Trombone, Picklock the Forged. Seriously guys, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Your support is incredible and it makes a huge difference. Thank you so much. That's all for now. Hope you've all enjoyed today's video, and of course, as always, see you guys next time.